Today I'm in a county where a gift from an Indian prince saved an English village from drought. But where am I? Find out in just a moment. Today's house-buying couple are moving on and up as they search for their first family home.
This is superb.
Oh,
This is lovely.
Great
Yeah, this is nice.
But emotions run high as the journey to a place of their own doesn't always run smoothly.
I'm almost disappointed by how much I like this house and the fact that it is attached to a neighbour.
I'm in the English county of Oxfordshire, and this is the Maharaja's well. The well was a gift from the Maharaja of Benares to the villagers of Stoke Row. Now, he wanted to thank their local squire, Edward Reed, who helped provide a water supply to his village back in 1831 in North India. It cost nearly £400 to build and took nearly a year to construct. It was dug by hand to a depth of nearly 368 feet. That's around twice the height of Nelson's Column. When it was opened in 1864, it could produce around 700 gallons of water every single day and continued to do so until it was closed in 1939. And this well is just one of the many jewels in Oxfordshire's crown. Sitting pretty in the southern part of England, landlocked Oxfordshire is bordered by 6 counties, including Gloucestershire, Wiltshire and Berkshire. Nestled between the rolling Cotswolds and the Chiltern Hills, the lush green region covers 1,000 square miles. Picturesque villages lined with honey-coloured stone houses give way to winding waterways, which offer great opportunities for family days out to explore the area. Oxfordshire's home not only to archetypal English meadows and fields, but also to the world-famous and prestigious Oxford University, which attracts over 22,000 students from more than 140 countries. 30 graduates have gone on to become international leaders and 26 British Prime Ministers. To the south of the county lies the prehistoric Uffington White Horse, which at over 100 metres long dates back to the Iron Age and is a bold landmark in the Oxfordshire landscape. So whether it's country walks, a dose of culture or day trips, the region offers diverse country living away from the hubbub of busy city life. But this country life certainly comes at a premium. The average price for a detached home here in Oxfordshire is just under £406,000. Now that's a massive 41% above the national average. And with house prices in this county on the up, now would be the time to buy. But what is it that draws today's buyers to the Oxfordshire countryside? Well, let's meet them and find out. Air pilot Nick and his cabin crew wife Catherine have been married for 4 years and have an 18-month-old daughter, Charlotte. They were 6 miles up when they first laid eyes on each other.
Met on a flight to Houston, I think it was, wasn't it?
It was Houston, yes.
Yeah. So
I thought, pilot. But he turned out to be OK.
They've spent the last 5 years renting this detached house in Horley, Surrey, close to Gatwick, and the estate is home to many other airport workers too.
Here you're always getting the sound of aircraft flying overhead at all sorts the day and night. You've also got neighbours who are working shifts, so they're up and down all hours of the night as well.
It doesn't make for a very peaceful homecoming after a long work trip away, and they're planning a move to the country for a quieter life.
Home's very much a haven. When you've been up all night after a long-haul flight, to actually come home and put your bag down and just have a very comfortable lifestyle is nice.
Yes.
Space and peace and quiet, I think, would be the 2 things that we'd need in a future house.
And it's toddler Charlotte who's the main consideration in their move.
Having Charlotte now makes it all the more important to move on and get her settled in an area rather than getting her comfortable here and then moving on.
That's right.
Years down the line.
Set down roots. Charlotte will gain a lot from this move. I think she'll gain much more of an understanding of the countryside, of being away from the noise.
I think there's a greater freedom for children in the country as well.
Nick and Catherine want their new home to be no more than a 2-hour commute from work and have decided they want to call Oxfordshire home.
I've got a family Gloucestershire in the Cotswolds, and we've got friends Oxford way. And having driven through there quite a lot and stopped at many villages en route, it's just a lovely part of the world. It's not completely detached from London and everything that's going on in this country, but it feels spacious enough.
Yeah, quite rural,
Feels
isn't it?
like you've escaped the southeast corner.
I like the idea of living in a rural area, and I would be quite happy to live somewhere that is fairly remote, but I do realise that for Catherine, that's when I'm away on a trip, maybe for 9 days, that may not be particularly fair. So I'm obviously willing to compromise on that and perhaps move somewhere a little bit closer to civilization.
Our buyers are both excited about the move and are looking forward to having a place of their own.
It will be the first house we've bought together as well.
But it'd be nice as well, because we've only lived in rented accommodation, to actually have a house that we can actually put our own stamp on.
So they're dreaming of a tranquil life that's not a million miles from work, and moving to the Oxfordshire countryside along the M40 corridor works well for them. Prices in this area are high, but they're hoping that in Oxfordshire they'll find the right family home. But first, I'm going to meet them to hear more about their proposed country move.
So here we are in Oxfordshire. Welcome. Why the desire now to move?
I think now is the time to move her into the countryside, into a nice location, and have a family house.
So what are you looking for with this move, Catherine?
I would like to find a nice village, be part of a community, because Nick goes away quite a lot. So for me, it's finding somewhere for Charlotte and I to fit in.
So in an ideal world, we're going to find you that dream perfect house, but quite close to work. So where's base for work?
Heathrow for myself and Gatwick for Catherine.
So it's got to be a sort of a radius around there, has it?
Yeah, we can go a reasonable distance. We're not doing the commute on a daily basis, so...
A little bit of flexibility.
Yes.
Right.
Now, this is the first time that you two will have bought a property together. Do you think you're going to be united?
I think our dream property we would be
Yeah,
completely
very
in
much
agreement
so.
on.
But
the
compromises
yeah.
are something that are going to be an interesting feature, shall we say.
If there is a compromise to be made, what's it going to be?
Space and size of the property.
Actually, yeah, size of the
Maybe,
property
yeah.
would be my compromise as well.
How many bedrooms?
4, preferably.
Yeah, ideally.
And a
Nice big garden, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you, livestock.
I would quite like to have animals at some stage if we have enough land. I've always fancied having a cow for some reason.
A cow?
A cow, so...
Can we afford land with this property? That's the question.
That's right, exactly.
Quite an expensive county.
I know.
We do,
Have you
yes.
thought about that?
Yes, and I think, well, look, if it's not here, then we know we've got to go further afield.
And when we find you this home, what is it going to mean to you?
I think for the biggest thing it's going to mean is a solid family base for the future. So we've got one daughter now. It would be nice, I think, to have another one at some stage.
You really are sold on that country dream, aren't you?
We are, very
Wonderful.
much so.
Well, let's hope we can deliver for you. What is your top budget?
£500,000.
We do have 3 splendid properties lined up to show you. One, of course, is going to be our mystery house. So you keen to get started?
Most
Yeah,
definitely.
certainly.
Nick and Catherine have a generous £500,000 to play with, but they may be hard-pushed to get everything they want for their budget. They'd love a detached house with 4 bedrooms to accommodate a growing family and visitors. Nick has visions of owning land and livestock, and Catherine is imagining being part of a community. For this young family, space is a priority, and it comes at a premium in Oxfordshire. But we've chosen some striking and varied properties which will give them a selection of attributes from their wish list, and they'll only learn the price of each after they've viewed the house. The mystery property will ask them to think outside the box, but will present some unexpected features I hope will surprise and delight them.
So you two have the most amazing, or it seems to be an amazing jet-set life. Does it feel like that?
You spend a long time
Yeah.
being tired sometimes.
You do.
Yeah.
I think it's probably sounds more glamorous than it really is. But that said, it's given us some lovely trips away. Certainly together before we had Charlotte, didn't it?
That's right, yeah.
And it affords you the opportunity to do things you wouldn't otherwise.
Where's the best place you've both been to?
Maldives.
Yeah, Maldives has got a rate up there.
We did a couple of Maldives trips together, and
So how is Oxfordshire going to compare to the Maldives?
very well actually. it's where we want to settle. Maldives is great to visit, but
That's right, yeah.
Oxfordshire is I'd far rather live here.
We're kicking off today in the hamlet of Kiddington, 13 miles northwest of Oxford and about 7 miles southeast of Chipping Norton. The hamlet sits on the pretty River Gleim and is home to a handful of attractive stone houses. There's a local kindergarten in the heart of the community where 18-month-old Charlotte could feel at home. 3 miles away, the village of Wootton offers a convenience store as well as a primary school, an attractive church and a welcoming pub. A 5-minute drive takes us back to our first property, a delightful 19th century stone cottage, extended and modernised to a very high standard.
What do you think?
It looks very attractive.
Very
Great
oldie worldy.
surroundings.
Yeah, it looks lovely.
Yeah.
That does concern me slightly, being attached to the neighbours, but that said, it is quite a long property, so we've got the distance there.
I like the look of the property. It's very Oxfordshire, isn't it? I like the sandy colour of the stone, rather the blue windows and doors. Very nice looking.
Yeah, it's attractive property.
It's a good start.
Interested to see inside.
OK, well, let's go.
I'm quietly optimistic because although I know Nick and Catherine are disappointed this house isn't detached, I think they'll be pleasantly surprised once we step inside.
So come on through. So, this is our first sort of reception room. Gives you a flavour of being a cottage.
Yeah, cracking fireplace.
It's
Do like
lovely,
that.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, originally, this probably would have been the main cottage. But the one thing I will tell you, and you've probably spied it, there's a little bit more to this than just this room.
This is quite a small room.
Yeah,
very,
as a
it's
main
very
living
cosy,
room.
isn't it? Yeah.
So should we see the rest?
Yes, lead on.
A roomy hallway laid with stone flooring leads to the heart of the home.
Now, how's this? For an open-plan, wonderful room.
Wow.
That's
It's
lovely.
fantastic, isn't it? Isn't that lovely?
Bit of a surprise from
It
next
is a
door.
huge surprise from next
Yeah,
door.
it's really nice. Yeah, this is really good. That is a good-sized kitchen,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Now, as you can imagine, this doesn't date back to 1844.
No,
No,
not quite
this
original.
was done in 2010. So everything is brand new, and what they've done is they've made the maximum of that view. When they put the extension in, you know, they've added a beam to give it a little bit more character.
Yeah.
You've got the skylights
Yeah.
making the most of the light.
This would be the main room of the house, without the shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, that's
And
the
it's
test.
nice because we like the kitchen and we like the living room, so actually to have them combined would
Yeah,
just be
would be
brilliant.
perfect.
Keen to see upstairs now?
Most definitely.
Stairs from the front reception room lead to the first floor, and we're heading past the bathroom to the back of the house.
So I want to show you the master bedroom.
Oh, yeah.
Probably would have had two
Fantastic
bedrooms
views.
originally.
Yeah, lovely, isn't it?
And it's dual aspect as well.
So that is just
Yeah,
stunning.
really nice. Yeah, lovely.
And it's actually not a bad size because this wardrobe takes up quite a bit of space.
Yeah.
Now remind me, how many bedrooms were you after?
4,
Four.
ideally.
They've set it out, the owners at the moment, having 3 bedrooms. So you've got 2 good-sized doubles, a really healthy single
Yeah.
for a child. If you're in a major city, that would be called a double. But you've also got next door to you a study, which could be another single bedroom.
Oh,
Oh,
Fantastic,
that's
yeah.
perfect.
So enough space upstairs.
Yeah.
It's quite deceiving, this cottage.
It is, yes. The frontal aspect doesn't give you any idea of how big this is. Yeah, it's really good, doesn't it?
But just standing here, do you have a concern about having a neighbour?
I do. Well, not having the neighbour, but being attached to them. I'm almost disappointed by how much I like this house and the fact that it is attached to a neighbour. That is obviously going to be a compromise.
When they did the extension to this property, they put soundproofing in, not just because they didn't want to hear their neighbours, but also they were very aware of being a young family, they didn't want to annoy their neighbours. And as you've walked around this property, have you ever felt that you've got a neighbour next door?
No.
No.
No, it's true, you haven't.
No.
And it's only out the front. I'd be interested to see how it is in the back garden, whether you feel looked on.
Yeah.
Well, let's go outside and have a look at it. And while we're out there, I'm also going to get you to start thinking about the price. That's the serious bit.
Catherine is visibly torn between her love of this charming house and the fact it's not detached. But things could change again when we venture outside.
So perhaps, in a way, this is the most important bit, because you have admitted that the countryside, the land, the space is the priority when you make this move. So here we have our garden. It's been laid to lawn. You've noticed the sheep behind us got a paddock next door. I mean, we are surrounded by pockets of land. If you really wanted a cow or perhaps a pony for Charlotte, it would be possible to look into renting.
Yeah.
And just lastly, I just want to give you an idea of where we are. We're in the north of Oxfordshire. Yeah. So Oxford is going to be about 20, 25 minutes drive away.
Yeah.
But crucially for you two, Heathrow and Gatwick, Heathrow about an hour and 10.
Yeah.
Gatwick about an hour 40 on a good day.
Brilliant,
Yeah. There's a price to be put on that view.
That's what worries me.
Come on then, on the spot, how much do you think?
I think it's definitely got to be the top of our budget, so I would optimistically say 490.
Optimistically.
Whereas I think, because it's the end of terrace, it'll be a bit cheaper. So I hope perhaps 480,000.
Interesting. Asking price is £499,950. We're reflecting where we are. We are so close to Oxford.
That's it, isn't it?
Well, it gives us an idea of what it is we can
Yes.
achieve with that.
Well, now you know the price, why don't you go back and just take it all in and look around you, because this is what you'd be buying into. This hopefully could be your future. Take your time and then give me a shout when you're ready.
Lovely.
Will do.
Thank
See
you.
you in a minute.
Just £50 under budget, this extended 19th century cottage offers our buyers the space and rural setting that are so important to them in their new family home. And although it's not detached, thanks to great soundproofing, there's no sign of the neighbours once you've crossed the threshold.
This is good, isn't
Charlotte's
it?
room.
Charlotte would like this.
It's lovely.
No, really nice. It's good.
When I originally saw the house, my gut feeling was one of disappointment, because you could see it was attached, but as soon as you started walking from one room to the next, you're like, oh, actually this is quite nice.
Oh, this is a nice sized bathroom.
Yeah, it's perfect, isn't it? Oh, look at the view.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? I think it's a great start to looking at houses, and it just goes to show that what it looks like on the outside can be very different when you get to the inside.
For me, this property, it's a real contender as it is. I think I'll go away from it and keep thinking about it in a positive light.
How are we getting on? Have you seen enough?
Really good start.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And this is only our first property. Got more to show you.
Good.
Good, come on.
Nick and Catherine's dreams of a home with land and animals is getting closer to becoming a reality. And to show them how they could make the most of their new rural life, we've sent them to meet Oxfordshire local Mark Cooper on his farm. He had the same idea 5 years ago when his young family welcomed 5 rare breed pigs into the fold.
These pigs are Oxford Sandy and Black pigs. These pigs are well known as a very good starter pig. You'll probably get them when they're about 8 weeks old. They'll all be injected. There shouldn't be much to do except twice a day, you've got to feed them with pig nuts and make sure they've got fresh drinking water.
At 8 weeks old, the piglets cost £50 and can prove to be a good investment. To keep pigs, you need to apply for a holding number from the government so that the animals can always be traced.
So how much space do you need to keep pigs?
We can have quite a few pigs in a relatively small area. You'll need some ground, which is going to get sort of damaged, but it may do a job of work for you. They may root over the ground and get it ready for the vegetables to be planted. You'll need some reasonably good fencing. You'll need some shelter. Somewhere, hopefully, they can get a little bit of shade in the summer. And when it gets especially hot, they like a little mud bath.
This is perfect. You can move out with the pigs.
What started as a hobby is now a thriving business, and Mark has around 150 pigs on his land.
So how big would these chaps get in relation to Mum?
She's about fully grown,
How old is Mum?
4 years old. These are about 3 weeks old, so another 3 or 4 weeks, we'll wean them away from Mum.
So how do pigs fit in with the family and the children?
I've got 2 daughters. I try to involve them as much as I can and bring them with me, and they'll come out feeding. I think it's good for the youngsters to come out and
learn some responsibility.
Put their overalls on, learn some responsibilities. We've got quite a few other pigs over in the woodland. We'll go and see them, and then you'll see the pigs in a natural environment.
Pigs are a great choice for someone like Nick who has aspirations of keeping a few animals on a small plot of land. They need less than half the space that cows would require, and this breed of pig's good temperament makes them particularly child-friendly.
Welcome to the woods. This is where we keep the majority of our pigs. Right, well, they're hungry.
When they're 5 or 6 months old, around 80% of Mark's herd are sold as meat at farmers' markets. Mark gets approximately £350 per animal, so not a bad return.
Henry's coming to feed now. This is one of our 4 boars.
And how old is he?
But he's about 3 and a bit years old now. He's in here to make sure these are in pig. Once we're satisfied that these have been in here long enough and are in pig, these will come out, and then we bring the next batch of sows in.
It's Henry's job to woo the ladies in the woods, 2 at a time, and get them pregnant. When the job's done, the next pair arrives.
Well, I hope what I've done is inspired you into possibly keeping a couple.
I don't think Nick would take much inspiration to want a couple of pigs.
I'd love a couple of
I
pigs, but I'm
would
not sure
take
my wife would let me.
A little
Right.
bit more.
Well, if you do...
Do they sit and snuggle up in front of the television?
If you'll allow them to, yes.
Moving to the northern tip of Oxfordshire, our second property is in the hamlet of Williamscott, 10 minutes drive from the market town of Banbury. Although Williamscott is pretty remote itself, the neighbouring village of Cropredy offers local amenities, including a primary school, an impressive and well-utilised canal, as well as a taste of local history, where the 1644 Battle of Cropredy Bridge is still remembered. A 10-minute stroll brings us to our second house.
It's really
this, lots.
pretty.
Yeah, isn't that a lovely looking house?
House itself,
Relatively modern by the looks, isn't it?
absolutely right. 20 years old.
Oh, wow.
That's no bad
Excellent.
thing.
Oh, we like that, yes. yes.
Anything
Anything else you notice about this property?
Detached.
It's detached.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know this area at all?
I have been to the village down the road as a
Cropredy?
child, yeah.
Have you?
We went on a narrowboat holiday with the family, so yeah, I've been through it. It's lovely.
We are further north, but the great thing is very close to the M40. So easy for commuting to work.
Excellent.
That's important.
So let's talk about the house then. What's going through your minds?
It looks very impressive. It's
Yeah.
very big, very spacious by the looks of it. So,
Looks lovely and private from here as well.
Yeah.
It does look good from the outside. Should we take a look inside, see what you think?
This house has already got off on the right foot, and we haven't even stepped inside. The very fact that it's detached has won it points, and I can't wait until Nick and Catherine see what else is on offer.
Pretty large hallway.
It is fantastic hallway. Look at
Yeah.
all these bookshelves. Like it immediately.
Let's start off with the kitchen.
Fantastic.
Lovely sized kitchen, isn't it?
Loads of storage space.
Yeah, we like that.
His and her sinks.
Very nice, isn't it?
Oh, well spotted, yes.
No, I don't think there's anything I'd change in
All right, well, on that note, we're going to keep going. So just off the hallway, you've got a big utility room and cloakroom. But here, good-sized dining area.
Good, isn't it? Yeah.
Which is, in a way, it's like a walk-through, but you can close it off. You've got these doors here.
Yeah.
And then after these doors, you've got a huge sitting room.
It's a huge
Fantastic,
sitting room.
isn't it? This is superb.
Oh,
Good
this
size.
This is
Lovely.
great
Yeah,
size
this is
sitting room.
nice.
Excellent. Open, huge fireplace. And they've kept the character. They've given it a little bit of charm, even though it's
right,
a
with the
modern
beam,
house. Plus, patio doors leading to your garden there.
Yeah.
But you've also got another set there.
Brilliant.
Wow. Yeah.
Can you imagine yourselves living here?
Certainly.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
So I'd like to go and see upstairs and see what there is there.
Come on then, let's have a look.
The first floor of this house has 4 bedrooms, including 3 good-sized rooms for a growing family and a bright bathroom.
The master bedroom
Wow, that's lovely, isn't it? What a size. This is good.
with an ensuite.
Yes.
And also, just take a step over there, your own dressing room.
Dressing room. That's
wonderful.
good. That's good. There's lots of space here, isn't there?
Yeah.
This is fantastic.
The house is very modern. How do you feel about that?
Absolutely fine.
Yeah,
Doesn't worry
not
me
a
in the least.
problem.
Yeah.
Good.
Less work.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, especially spending a lot of time away. I don't get that much time to do stuff like DIY, and lovely to move into a place that needs nothing doing.
Couldn't ask for more.
Yep.
It's lovely. Yeah.
Well, let's go downstairs.
So far, so good. The house hasn't put a foot wrong. I just hope it keeps up the good work when we move outside. The garden is what will really make or break it for Nick and Catherine.
Here, you've got about 1/3 of an acre. Now, it does slant down, so if you were looking at perhaps growing vegetables, you might actually want to do something down the bottom.
So it's not got the fantastic views, but it is a really lovely garden.
Journey time's going to be an hour and 10 to
Yeah.
Heathrow
Yeah.
and be about an hour 40
Yeah,
for
that's
Gatwick.
well within the realms
That's
of
right, yeah, that's not an
possibility.
issue whatsoever.
Yeah. How much do you think it's on the market for?
I reckon 515,000.
I would have gone for more, 525.
And is that a price that you'd be happy to pay for this house?
I think so.
Certainly under, consideration,
Yeah.
we'd have to think about it.
The asking price for our second property is £500,000.
Oh,
Yeah,
That is
that's
good.
a good price.
bang on budget.
Yeah.
Bang
Yeah.
on budget.
That is good news.
Yeah, that's good.
That is excellent.
Are you surprised?
Yeah, I'm extremely surprised. I honestly thought we'd get to the end of this and think we're going to have to move further afield.
Yeah.
This is great news.
Very good.
And there is room to expand in this house, isn't there?
Yes. Yeah.
So off you go. Have another look around. Catch up with you in a minute.
Will
Thank
do.
you.
Thanks.
This large stone house may be fairly new, but it has bags of character. It might not leave Nick and Catherine with any change from their budget, but it offers them everything they were hoping for. It has the rural but not too remote location at the top of their wish list and a garden big enough for daughter Charlotte to run around.
Well, I think there's quite a bit to do with the garden, but certainly manageable, isn't it? This house is at the top of the list so far. It gives us everything we've wanted. It gives us space, the ruralness of it, lovely location is exactly what we're looking for, as well as a nice space for Charlotte to go and play. Oh, this is a nice sized room, isn't it?
Yeah, this is great actually for a single room.
I think Charlotte would like this. Yeah, I see her living here without any problems.
The house is a great size. It's an absolute perfect family home. The kitchen, wonderful. And the living room is just something else.
Well, that went really well. I thought this house might be a little too far north of the county for them. It's also very modern, but that doesn't seem to be the case. How are you feeling, you two?
Great, we've just been childproofing the garden.
Have you
Finding
really?
what we're doing there.
That's right, yes, making room for Charlotte.
You've practically moved in.
We have.
It's a good way to end our day, isn't it?
Isn't it just?
Come on.
It's the second day of our Oxfordshire house hunt, and with a budget of £500,000, we're hoping to find Nick and Catherine from the town of Hawley, Surrey, a spacious family home in a peaceful rural setting that's still part of a local community. And we've still got the mystery house to reveal.
This is completely different, isn't it?
Yes.
It could also be very hazardous to my health.
And I'll be stepping back in time in a fabulous country pile.
A remarkable man and very courageous. Catherine and Nick came to Oxfordshire with their fingers crossed but their eyes wide open, hoping to find that perfect property in what is a rather pricey region. Now, yesterday, I think we got rather close, especially with our second home, in realising their aspirations. Today, we're going to show them a mystery property that hopefully will give them that country idyll, but there may be a few compromises along the way. So did you two go to bed last night dreaming of property here in Oxfordshire?
I woke up thinking about that second property.
Did you? In a good or a bad way?
No, in a good way. Wondering what you could do with the house and, what the implications of moving there would be.
You see, my trouble was I was trying to work out how I'd mow the lawn with that big drop on it.
With that big, slope.
So, with the memories of yesterday still fresh in their minds, it's on to our third and final property. We're heading to the west of the county to Swerford, a classic Oxfordshire village close to the Cotswolds. Winding lanes are flanked by elegant houses, and there's a real sense of community here with a village hall and an award-winning gastropub to bring locals together. The village's two oldest attractions are the footprint of the 12th century Motte and Bailey Castle and the magnificent 13th century St Mary's Church, which is a stone's throw away from our mystery house. It may be smaller than our buyers were hoping for, but I'm confident they'll be won over by its character.
This is your mystery house.
I'm wondering what the catch is. It looks lovely.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it just?
Any ideas why it's a mystery?
Well, it's
We've
a
got to
cottage.
share it with the existing owner.
No. The good news is it would be all yours if you chose to buy it. The reason it's a mystery, there is a small compromise, and that's the space. But it's whether the beauty and its old quirkiness can overcome that.
Yeah.
So should we step
Yeah.
inside?
Yeah, why not?
This detached cottage sits in a conservation area and dates back to 1741 with a recent extension. It offers 3 bedrooms and overlooks the delightful village green and church.
So as you walk through, you've got a small reception area there, stroke study, and then it leads to the heart of the property. We're right in the centre.
This is completely different, isn't it?
Yes.
It could also be very hazardous to my health.
Well, that's the thing. If you live in an old property with beams, you get used to it and you know when to bend without even thinking about it. But we like, with our mystery house, to stretch you. I want to show you different styles of property, different periods of property.
It's good, because we wouldn't normally have looked at a house like this. This is a fantastic opportunity to go and have a look around.
It'd be such a cosy living room.
Yeah.
With the wood burner?
Yeah.
Could you imagine yourself living here?
I'm not sure I've seen enough yet to make a decision on that.
OK.
I love the room.
But,
Yeah.
it is very nice.
And it is cosy, and sitting here using this as a living room would be fantastic. But then thinking practically, where does everything else go?
Space.
That's it.
I'm not sure I fit down into there yet.
Let's see if you fit. Let's see. Do mind your head. So through here is your kitchen. Now this has been extended.
It's quite a nice little kitchen, actually.
Yeah.
I love the butler's sink.
Not a bad size.
As kitchens go, this is actually quite usable. I'm kind of trying to find the space to squeeze it in because it's just so beautiful.
Are you trying to make it work
I'm
for
trying
you,
to make
Catherine?
it work.
Yes.
Because it's that lovely.
You've got a terrace outside and the sun rises actually in that direction,
Breakfast.
which is wonderful. Now, I know you've got your reservations about the space downstairs. Let's see if I can change your mind with what we're going to show you upstairs.
Nick and Catherine seem taken with this 18th century cottage, but they're definitely worried about its ability to serve as a family home. On the next 2 floors are 3 bedrooms, one in the eaves and a family bathroom. Now is my chance to try and convince them that the house's beauty outweighs its size.
This is the master. Overlooking, Catherine.
It's very light and airy, isn't it, I have to say.
And there's no planes, there's no noise.
It's lovely.
If you follow me, this might be the master, but look at this. At the moment, it's a beautiful modern dressing room.
It's lovely.
Could be a nursery if you needed it to. You had a little one in here. And you've got an ensuite with all mod cons.
Oh, wow. I love it.
I've still got that garden to show you.
Okay.
Outside is full of surprises, and just across from the pretty terrace is a large walled patio.
Now, at the moment, it's been done in quite sort of a basic style. It's practical, and in the summer, you can imagine it's full of blooms and blossom.
Absolutely fantastic, isn't it?
So it's an added bonus. You weren't expecting this, were you?
No, definitely not.
You've got your greenhouse, but there's one other little gem that I'm going to show you.
Round to the side of the house is my last opportunity to persuade Nick and Catherine that this could be their country retreat.
This is the final part of the garden. And just look at that.
View is fantastic, isn't it?
Isn't it gorgeous? Because that's what you could be waking up to every morning.
Yeah.
So how much do you think this wonderful property is on the market for?
Well, I think it's going to be over budget, Nicki, at £510,000.
OK.
And I think I might be doing it a disservice by putting it at 480.
Asking price is £525,000.
Apologies.
Well, reflected, we're right on the Cotswolds border. Now, in case you got carried away with the mystery house, we did speak to the people and say what your top budget was, and they would be happy to have a conversation with you if the house was right. So, with that in mind, why don't you go and have another look? Off we go through the gate. I'll catch you later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our mystery house is on the market for £25,000 over budget. But if Nick and Catherine thought it a serious contender, there is room for manoeuvre. The attractive cottage may be lacking the 4th bedroom and space they'd like, but it's overflowing with period appeal, and the quirky gardens would be ideal for little Charlotte to explore.
It's quite small, isn't it?
Lovely. When I first walked up, I just thought this is just picture perfect. The location is absolutely beautiful. Mind your head.
Quite a lot of room. Oh, there's not that much room up here, is there? The big thing that stuck out for me, literally, were the beams. Being 6'1", having to duck down everywhere walking around the house would be an absolute nightmare.
When we walked into the main living room, I was wowed by it. I was also disappointed because you just know this beautiful room and house is not big enough, it's not going to be practical. So you're searching immediately, all right, how can I make this work? Where can my things go? But you just know it's not going to happen.
This is a truly beautiful mystery house. I don't think it's right for them. Have we seen enough?
We have. My head's had enough, I think.
Have you been knocking it on those beams?
I have a couple of times.
They were quite low, but changed your minds?
I don't think so. It is
it's not a house
beautiful,
for us.
but yeah.
Well, let's go somewhere. Let's have a chat and find out what your next move is going to be.
Okay.
Oxfordshire is home to a wealth of history and historic buildings, and one of the most majestic is Blenheim Palace, a stunning example of early 18th century Baroque architecture. Built with funds gifted from Queen Anne to the first Duke of Marlborough, it's situated in the Georgian town of Woodstock. 200 years into the palace's story, in 1914 the First World War struck, and Blenheim quickly transformed from a stately home to a vehicle of war, and no one in this grand house was unaffected. To tell the story of that period, an exhibition has been curated which offers an insight into the lives of those at Blenheim who served during the First World War. I'm meeting Karen Wiseman, who researched and set up this tribute.
As I explored, I realised you could tell the story of the First World War through this family and the people who lived and worked on the estate.
And who would those people have been?
Well, right from the very top we have the 9th Duke, who was at the front, all the way down to the boot boy in the palace.
So the 9th Duke of Marlborough, what part did he play? Did he see active service?
He did, but he was actually a messenger boy. He carried messages from the War Office to the front and then dispatches back to the War Office.
But it wasn't just the family and staff who got involved.
The estate itself was put to producing as much food as was humanly possible for the war effort. So, for example, around the palace, the flower borders were dug up and they grew carrots instead. And then the palace became a hospital.
Karen's exhibition tells the amazing stories of the people connected to Blenheim and paints a picture of what life would have been like in wartime Oxfordshire.
Who's the flying cousin?
Well, the flying cousin is Oscar Guest, and he's the first cousin of the 9th Duke.
What happened to him?
He was up with another pilot and a Fokker aeroplane attacked them. He was shot 4 times and he began to lose consciousness, so he cut the engine and the plane landed itself, fortunately, in a ploughed field, so they survived.
He survived?
He survived.
Being shot 4 times?
Very, very fortunate.
So for all the tales of woe, the war did have some happy endings. Another uplifting story is that of one of the palace's tenant farmers.
So, Karen, who's this fine gentleman?
This is George Woodford, who went to war in 1914 with the Queen's Own Oxfordshire Hussars as a captain. He was responsible for bringing supplies up to the front. And your first thought might be that that was a safe occupation, but actually they shelled the communication trenches just as much as the frontline trenches. So bringing up supplies to the men was incredibly dangerous. And he was exceptionally good at his job, and he was given the Military Cross by the King at the end of the war.
For his service?
For his outstanding valour under extreme fire.
And he came back safely?
He did, very safely.
And what do we know about him as a person?
One of the lovely things we know is that he married the head dairymaid here at Blenheim, and we have his wedding photograph here. And this is George on his wedding day to Christina Macduff with a fantastic bouquet of flowers. George, I think, was one of the lucky ones. He had a large family. He had a loving wife waiting for him. When he came home, he was determined to live life to the full.
A remarkable man and very courageous.
Very, very exceptionally so.
And just as remarkable were the deep, muddy trenches soldiers lived in on the front line, hiding from the enemy whilst waiting to come above ground to fight. Conditions were tough, wet, cold, and often rat-infested.
Is this the proportions of a trench? Is this how it would have been?
This one is a very straight trench because it's very short, but of course the trench is zigzagged deliberately so that if the enemy got into the trench, they didn't have a clear shot all the way down. So if it's zigzagged, they could only shoot a very short distance.
Would they have eaten, slept, everything here?
Everything, yes, and indeed. And as the war progressed, they brought in beds and tables so that they could actually try and live, odd as it seems, a very normal life.
The trenches were a long way from the safety of Oxfordshire's splendid palace, which became a refuge to the wounded heroes of the conflict.
In the long library at the palace, they set up a hospital. It was a convalescent hospital.
And what sort of casualties would we have seen here?
Oh, all sorts. There were men who had lost limbs, there were men who were suffering from gunshot wounds, there were men who were suffering from shell shock.
What could they provide? Well, was it medicine, equipment, or was it mainly love?
The nurses there, they were led by the wonderful Sister Munn. She believed if you were going to get their bodies healed, you had to heal their mind as well and what was going on in their heads. So she insisted on practical things like lots of fresh air. She chucked them outside for long walks or long pushes in the wheelchair. She was a good woman, very
so
good.
Blenheim as an estate was so involved during the First World War, wasn't it?
Yes, every aspect of the war. Somebody was either in the air, in the trenches or at sea, and the women were busy. They were either nursing or setting up hospitals.
Okay, you've just shown us a small snippet of this exhibition. Thank you so much. And it did have a profound effect, not just on Blenheim, but everybody, the whole of Oxfordshire as well, didn't it? Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well, we've had a great few days with Nick and Catherine, and we've shown them some super properties, but have we found them their future home? Let's find out. So Nick and Catherine, we started this search with, well, you're a little bit uncertain whether your budget would stretch to Oxfordshire, but you had your wish list, you remained hopeful. How did we get on?
Yeah, very well.
Did we?
I'm very hopeful. That
Very
second
hopeful.
property, especially.
Got very close, I reckon.
For me, I think it virtually did hit the mark. I think for Nick, it's going to be the slope in the garden that is the
Yeah.
deal breaker, if there is one.
Yeah, it's the garden that's limiting the property for myself.
If we have found you that house in that country location within a decent time to work for the commute, surely a sloping garden is the compromise to be made.
There's a compromise I need to work out myself if that's a compromise too far. Everything else about the house seemed really good.
Is it worth a second viewing?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
What have you learnt, though, over the last few days?
I think I've learnt not to be too narrow-minded on what a property looks like on the internet or on the brochure.
I wouldn't have looked at any of those properties. Yeah, that second one, oh, just wonderful.
You were so together with this search. Are you surprised? Because it's the first time you'll have bought together.
At the end of the day, we want the same thing. We want a house for the future, for our family to grow up in, and for us to probably get old and go grey.
So, to sum up, you're going to look at that property again.
I'd like to, yes.
So, yeah.
A little bit of work on Nick. Take a gardener with you. That'll sort that.
I think that the top of that garden can be levelled out nicely, and I think it'll be perfectly sufficient.
Well, we've got an amazing spread here, haven't we, to celebrate the last few days. It has been our pleasure.
And thank you very much.
So although we didn't quite achieve a house sale with Nick and Catherine, they are definitely going for another viewing of our second property. And I think what the last few days has shown them is with a bit of research and an open mind, they can find that wonderful family home here in the countryside, most importantly, on their budget. I just hope they get their skates on and they don't let this wonderful opportunity fly away. I'll see you again. Bye-bye.
If you're planning to escape to the country in England, Scotland, Wales or Northern Ireland and would like our help, you can apply online at bbc.co.uk/beonashow.